So guess what? You're out. And I'm out too. Kick, kick, boom! The Bloodline has exploded in Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. Nearly 10,000 fans going absolutely insane. Because after all, it's not paranoia, it's the goddamn Usos. I'm Charles Renton with my review WWE Smackdown from Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. Even though the capacity for that particular venue is around 23,500, the crowd they had there was pretty goddamn electric. And yes, there's your, well, likely one of your main events for Money in the Bank. Because Roman and Solo against the Usos, if they don't do it at Money in the Bank, they're going to do it at SummerSlam. It's going to be a big goddamn deal. And the Bloodline has basically evaporated unless they get Jacob Fatu. That would be pretty interesting. So yeah, other stuff occurred. Let's talk about it. So, Kayla greets Heyman, Solo, and Roman. Where does Jey Uso stand? And Heyman looks Kayla up and down. I don't necessarily blame him. God, Kayla looked great. He just looked at her snidely like, what the heck? No, go away. God, Kayla looked great. So, we get a 6-team gauntlet match, and Jesus fucking Christ. The state of this goddamn tag team division. The winning team faces off against Zayn and Owens. And I knew what was going to happen. I think everybody knew what was going to happen. The Profits, the Brutes, Sheamus, and Ridge. At one point, they said Sheamus was rubbing off on Ridge. That's a good commentary there. Gallows and Anderson, the LWO, Hit Row, and Pretty Deadly. The Good Brothers, home of the Good Brothers, may we take your order? One of the worst tag teams going today. Even though they used to be pretty good in New Japan. Pretty Deadly. I will watch a Young Bucks match before I watch anything that Pretty Deadly has done. I have not cared for the Young Bucks in a while, and I hate Pretty Deadly even more. Granted, Pretty Deadly actually seem like decent people outside the ring, but nevertheless, Hit Row. Apparently, they are planning to do some cuts at some point, and I don't wish anybody to get cut, but I think Hit Row and a few others are going to be going soon. So, yeah, basically what ended up happening is Cole called Top Dollar Flop Dollar, and he is. He's a big old flop. He shouldn't be in wrestling. He's not any good. And then at one point, Sheamus beat off both members of Pretty Deadly from behind. Stop thinking about it. No, I know you're thinking about it. And Pretty Deadly won it. I don't really think that's that shocking. They're still celebrating in the ring. Zayn and Owens come down, and then Pretty Deadly cut a promo, and I really, honest to God, was ready to drive my head through a goddamn window. I can't fucking stand Pretty Deadly. And it's not because they're heels, it's because they're terrible. They are just terrible. They're annoying on the mic, they're annoying in the ring. Can't take them seriously. Don't like them at all. Then, Zayn and Owens rush the ring, and they powder out. Heyman is with Roman and Solo. Heyman just groveling. It's great. Logan Paul is going to be on Raw this coming week, which I actually, just in a few days, I anticipate that they might actually somehow add him to the Money in the Bank ladder match last minute. Then Zelina took on Io with Bayley. Io, being the taller of the two competitors in the ring, was off-putting to me. It was all right, but it wasn't given a lot of time. Bayley accidentally distracted, and then Zelina hit a 619 and folded up Io 1-2-3. There you go. Pierce tells Bianca she'll get a rematch. I'm working on it. Bianca says, fine, I'm going to do it my way, and then twirls her hair and then leaves. Shotzi, Bayley, and Io are backstage, and Shotzi's like, it basically just boiled down to the whole goddamn thing of Io saying, hey, you know what? Bayley should face you, and if Shotzi wins, she can have Bayley's spot, because we're doing tension with Damage Control, because Dakota's out at least until the Rumble. Damage Control is going to be done. I mean, you could argue Damage Control has actually been done for a while with how many losses they took. And Io, channeling what Bayley said a little bit earlier, I'm just trying to help. And the Grayson Waller effect was Charlotte. I know Charlotte's a star. She was involved in one of my favorite matches of the year at WrestleMania. I don't want to see her anymore. I don't. Bianca comes out, less hair twirling. She is going a little more angry and heelish at some point. They jab at each other, and it was what it was. I zone out of anything Charlotte's involved in. I'm sorry. I just don't care anymore. She's been there long enough. It's time to move on from some of the horsewomen. Becky's really about the only one they should be focusing on. Bayley, even though she's great, they seem to have totally forgot, just given up on. Heyman apologizes to Jay for telling the truth about Jimmy. And then Jay says, well, I'm sorry, but if I'm in, you're still out. And then Cross and Scarlett took on Styles and Mia Yim. That's her name. This Michin thing is stupid. I'm sorry. It just is to me. It doesn't sound legit. It just doesn't sound like a name that should be said on a wrestling program. And this is all because Scarlett powderized her monthly cycle and blew it into AJ Styles' face last week. The powderized Menzies community. You're welcome for that. Okay. God, this Scarlett should not wrestle. She just shouldn't. At one point, Scarlett was trying to hit on Styles, and he took off his glove and pointed to his wedding ring and said, I'm married, bitch. That was funny. What wasn't funny was Cross immediately choking AJ Styles out, hitting a forearm, and then hitting some sit-out, whatever, or some slam. It was just somewhere it looked like he was going to catch him and do a carryover. No, he ended up hitting just some weird variation of a, almost F5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Cross pinned AJ Styles in a match in 2023. That's about all I got to say about that. So, then we get more Heyman Roman Solo stuff. Solo says, you want me to handle this, my tribal chief? He's like, no, we got plenty of time. Special Olympics in Berlin. Okay, good. All for Special Olympic athletes getting more attention. And good that WWE does partnership with them. Because after all, according to Stephanie McMahon, the philanthropy is the future of marketing. It's the way brands are going to win. Corbin then attacks Grimes backstage. Ray brings out Santos. They hype up Money in the Bank. LA Knight comes out to a pop. He immediately shoves Ray. Escobar attacks him. And LA Knight ducks out of a 619. And then we go to break. We come back. They have a match. It wasn't given a whole lot of time. LA Knight tries to do the roll-up with the ropes, but Escobar kicks his hand out, rolls him up, 1, 2, 3. And then LA Knight beat him up afterwards. Ray runs back out. Apparently Ray did not stay at ringside because maybe he needed to go nurse his wounds or use the bathroom or possibly help Zelina get something off the top of the second shelf. And there you go. So Jay sees Sammy, and they don't say anything. Now that was the best thing to do. Roman's entrance takes up the entire, next segment. We go to break. And then the women's tag team unification match, Isla and Alba against Ronda and Shayna. If Isla and Alba win, I'll be surprised. I ain't going to be upset. I'll just be surprised. And Grimes against Corbin. Shotzi and Bayley. If Shotzi wins, she replaces Bayley in the Money in the Bank match. Is Jay in or out? It's either Heyman or it's me. Roman says, this is my wise man, not your wise man. We've been grooming you for the last 3 years. A man has been grooming his own cousin. It's like, I brought us to the promised land. You're supposed to keep us here. And then Jimmy comes down and says, no, Roman's the problem. And Roman says, he's the anchor. I'm the wings. He drags you down. I bring you up. And more stuff. Who was against Jimmy, or Jay rather, being the right-hand man? It was Jimmy. Is that true? Yeah, it's true. Well, if that's true, Jimmy, then you're out. And I'm out too. Boom. There you go. I mean, he said other stuff. We just got to the meat of the matter with that. It was obvious that Jay was going to do that. Jay kicked Roman. They dispatched Solo. And then double kicked Roman after he's saying, you hit me, and then kicked him. So that's going to be your Money in the Bank main event. Or at least, actually, they might end up making it the main event, not the Money in the Bank ladder match. But nevertheless, there you go. That's it. That's it for SmackDown. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rentlin. I'll see you soon.